CRN Wilder here, and let me tell you about my guest. It is time for Kimberly Dvorak. Yes, award-winning national security, border security investigative reporter for TV, radio, and the print media. She is the senior foreign policy advisor for the Committee for Responsible Foreign Policy, TV correspondent, CW6 News in San Diego, as well as One America News Network. Her website, thekdreport.com, and she should be streaming live right now as we talk at periscope.com and Facebook later on at YouTube. Kimberly, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
I am okay. I'm kind of getting to a slow start here, but it's going to gradually pick up, and I'm going to be going at fast speed. And
okay.
People say, what was that, the Roadrunner? Yes, all right.
Well,
serious stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say the weather here is like 75 degrees and it's sunny for a change. So we're like living the life that you all in California usually live.
and that, you were speaking of Washington, D.C., right?
Yeah, it's warm here. It's very nice.
Because you hop around so much.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're gradually getting close to, I guess it's going to be close to 90 degrees by the end of the week.
Wow.
Getting way up there.
That's hot.
On a serious subject, kind of serious, Biden, all right, and the rape scandal.
Yeah.
Now, here's an item that just came out this morning, Kimberly. I don't know if you saw it.
Okay.
The Secretary of the Senate has said her office cannot comply with a request by the prospective Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden to order a search for a purported complaint made by the woman accusing him of sexual assault when he was a senator. In her statement, Julie Adams said their legal counsel has reviewed the relevant statute governing such records and advised that the Secretary has no discretion to disclose any such information as requested in Vice President's letter of May 1st. It almost sounds like it's his letter and they're not going to search his records, but it's somebody else that wants the record search, right?
Yeah. Well, let me tell you where this came from. And actually, what happened in the Senate is actually lawful, and they cannot get out these the information on these primarily female, but some male, people that are. I mean, I think they're assaulted probably verbally as well as physically. That stuff can remain in Congress, that can remain in the Senate, and it does not have to be closed, because back in the 90s, the House and the Congress and the Senate passed a bill known as the Congressional Accountability Act. And that act actually foists all of the weight onto the accuser, not the accused. And just to give you a few things that what an accuser say that a senator like Biden assaults somebody or touches them improperly or swims naked in front of them, which he's done with the Secret Service, with women being part of that. They make this person who's making the accusation, they have to go through a day long of what's the term I'm looking for? They've got to go through a day-long procedure where they talk with the mediator and they go back and forth and they try to probably talk the person out of it. But it's a day-long that, and then they have to go through and they have to jump through a number of hoops, like they've been through counseling on this and they've got to be proven on that. And so for females, I mean, particularly for them to come out and do this, they do it, but then it's not on the record because of this law, the Congressional Accountability Act, which remains in law. And Biden voted for this accountability back in the 90s. So here we are. We have the the Hollywood elite crowd going after someone who has actually corroborating witnesses and has a lot of different evidence proving that Biden acted, maybe he didn't rape her, we don't know that, but he acted inappropriately for a United States senator, and he was a senior person in the Senate, so he wasn't like just got there last week and he didn't know the rules and he was just joking around with this gal. So, but it's to see how everybody on the left now is going after this poor woman who's a Democrat and said that she just, wanted the story to come out. She didn't mean to, to involve herself in any of this, and she's trying to be as honest and forthright as she can. But then because this is against Biden, you have it's astonishing. The left has Harvey Weinstein. You would think they would learn from Harvey Weinstein. Apparently not. They have, you've looked at them and they have the Me Too movement. Did they woke up to what happened to Miss Reed here? Again, where she accused the ex-vice president and senator. Why are they not on her side at first? Like they complain that all these women have to be believed. And, when you look at how, now we know the double standard. So what woman is going to go through this process moving forward? Why? Why would you? Your life will be ruined by the media, and shame on the media for doing this stuff. This is actually just, what they're doing to this woman is absolutely wrong. Just like it was when, we went through the last Supreme Court.
Yeah, and this double standard, I mean, I wonder seriously, what the percentage of Americans would be that don't believe this hashtag Me Too women has a double standard. Yeah. I mean, would it even be 1%? I mean, unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, sincerely, it is so obvious. Kavanaugh, my goodness, guilty. And I mean, it was 24-hour coverage on it. Yeah. Biden, well, it's just old Joe Biden. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're a family member, I mean, I think a lot of families have like an old uncle that, he's like we don't talk about him. He comes to events occasionally. He's, drinking or whatever it may be. But do we want Uncle Joe running the country when he can't put a coherent sentence together? And you're looking at, now it's looking like, he's been, I mean, and there are numerous reports, not just like with Ms. Reed here this last week, but prior, when he was in the White House, he would go swimming naked in the pool, where Secret Service, some of the females had to complain, saying, it's not really appropriate for him to go swimming naked in swimming pools. And then you look at, stories like, Conyers and Al Franken. These are people that are way on the left. They lost their jobs because of this Me Too movement. Now all of a sudden it gets to the vice president and the potential president, and now it's like we're woke, we're tired. We'll take a nap. We'll come back after Biden's president. And to me, as a woman, that's just absolutely unacceptable. I mean, you can't do that stuff. And as a female, you get people walk up to you and say inappropriate things, and coworkers do it. I think we all go through it. Not all of us go to this HR department and do that. We just say whatever. It's not a hassle, but because we don't want to go through what Miss Reed's going through right now. That's the reason why we don't go out there. That's why women don't go out there more often, because it's the media, the left, and Hollywood that will come after you if you're trying to go, into the vice presidential, Biden's background. But, it's just something that you suffer the essential, the first act of this, and then you got to go on and report it, and then the media will come after you and effectively, assault you again and again and again. So that's why you don't see a lot of women coming forward.
And Kimberly, a lot of people, they don't know and they don't believe you when you would say, like, I'll say it like this, and they'll go, oh, that didn't happen, or there's no way. When Obama was president and he had two young girls going into college, he decided, let the vice president, Joe Biden, run with this particular thing that I would like to make all colleges abide to. And I'm trying to think, it was Article 6.1 or something like that. You probably know exactly.
Yeah, where you had to write a letter before you in college. If you were going to have sexual relations with someone else in college, you were supposed to write a letter saying that it's okay to have sex. You were supposed to write that, each of you, both of them, would have to, presumably. I mean,
they sent out 4,000 letters to 4,000 universities, colleges, and they were saying, the woman, you have to presume that she's innocent. And there was one case where they found the guy guilty. I don't know if it was sexual harassment or whatever, or rape. I don't know what it was. They just said they found him guilty at the very same time that they found the accuser guilty of filing a false police report. And it was like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
the two different juries are what in the world?
Yeah.
But see, people say, well, Obama wouldn't do that just because his girls were getting ready to go into this strange territory.
Yeah.
And on Biden's record, let me tell you something, so I'm glad, I did some research on this about a week and a half ago and came up with this, and finally Tucker Carlson actually put it out Friday about this guy named Cochran,
Yep.
who is he's the dean, and at one time he was this bank MBNA vice chairman.
Yep.
Bought Biden's home for more money than he wanted. They gave him $330,000 for moving expenses.
Yeah.
And then all these donors, 11 different donors to Biden, and they're the ones saying, at the University of Delaware, well, we can't release these records. That just wouldn't be fair.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, I mean, it's if there was nothing there, I think that Biden's been pretty forthright. He's released his tax returns and on those kind of things. He's been in public service for his entire career. I'm not certain what he actually achieved that was monumental, helping out the United States, but that's another question. He's still somebody who has a public record.
Real quick, tax returns.
Yeah.
He had a job. Oh, you mean you're just talking about his as a senator? Okay, yeah, thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, he's not like a businessman. He's just the guy he's the gadfly. He's the traditional gadfly type person. He's like the old crazy uncle type of thing. And everybody, I've never met him, but people say, well, he's very nice when you meet him. He's very, you can have a good conversation with him. And, but in the back of my mind, all I do is see these creepy pictures with him, trying to hug Robert's wife from behind when they were doing the oath for, the Chief Justice. I mean, when you see those kind of things, he walks up to women and just reaches around, and you see like he's practically like touching their breasts. And I mean, it's just, you want to stay clear of that. And I think that the media completely has amnesia about those things, because those things were very real. And they're actually, you can see them. They have video of this. So it's not like one person saying this and one person saying that. I mean, there's video of some of this. So that's where I think that the voters will be taking a look at Biden's thing and deciding if he's the guy they want in the White House. Trump was also accused of a lot of different things, and it didn't, in the end, the American people thought that he learned from those mistakes and moved on and was going to help make America great again, So we look at those kind of things, and that's, so you've got you have a president and a presidential candidate with the similar issues. This could be why this is coming out right now, and just, we don't know where it will go. Who knows what the media, but, at least I think that it's on the record. You've seen this, and there are a few people who will, at least, be honest about this when people like, Reid comes forward. And also, let's keep in mind, too, that when Paul Ryan was Speaker of the House, and all of this stuff came up with all of the Conyers and the Franken and what was the guy down in Florida, Foley, who abused like the male interns. He was a Republican. And so Ryan came and said, we're going to do this accountability. We're going to release all the names of the women and men who were wronged by Congress, and we're going to release the list, and we're going to show the American people who are paying for this, by the way, that they can see which congressmen or senators have, been, I guess you want to say that they've been accused of, rape or sexual assault or inappropriate behavior. And we're going to tell you how much that it cost for us to like pay off these interns and, employees. Yeah. And about 2 months later, after Paul, said that we're going to do this, he quietly retires as Speaker of the House. So was his name in there? Was his name in there? That's what I mean. Is when you look at this is why American people want to know and want to see the names. Was his name in there? And is that why he resigned, because he didn't want to do anything? And this will go to, get marked up, and for 100 years or so they won't release this information. Is that where we're going with all of this stuff?
I know, yeah. And I tell you, and there was one other subject, listener, that we were going to cover, and we got about a minute before the break, and I know we're not going to get half of what we needed to get in. Carlos Slim, now is he the guy that has all the the money in the New York Times?
Yeah. And all the cell phones, that Obamacare, their Obama phones, he was the guy that got all the Obama phones. Yeah.
So now he has just got this humongous $8 billion train project in Mexico, him and some China company.
Yeah.
Now, 1 minute before the break. Right,
Okay, just real quick, because I know in California they had the train to nowhere, and that we taxpayers evidently were on the hook. Now, with this, it's going to be primarily would be used from tourists because people fly into Cancun and they want to get out to the Yucatan to see the all the ruins. I've done it; it's an amazing thing. But anyways, Carlos Slim is working with China, and we know China has no problem taking advantage of people, and presumably they're working together. And if you look at what they're going to build, it's a train that's going to work for tourists and all that, but who's having China be involved in this, especially with what's going on with the COVID. It looks like China, who's building all around the world, and they're building things for Canada, they're building things in our country. They're building something, and we're always destroying things with war. I think the president's got that looked at, and I think that the Americans and the Mexicans as well ought to be very leery of inviting the Chinese in, because they will be ruthless and take what you don't. If you default on a loan, you're done. They've taken it over.
As we go into this break, the Chinese company is the CCCC. That's right, the China Communications Construction Company. They love that. It's interesting. The CCCC faced corruption charges, blacklisted by the World Bank in 2011 for fraudulent prices, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the people who make this bid, I guess they were having coffee at the United Nations Office for Project Services. Once again, the UN messing over the United States.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, and what could possibly go wrong with having China going into Mexico with Mexican government is notorious for being very, very corrupt. So they're going to probably be the best of friends. It may work out. It may not work out for the Mexicans because unlike the Chinese, they actually do follow through with going after, companies. They've been busy collecting and buying businesses in the United States. So buyers beware. And plus they actually down in, I think it's Mombasa, down in Kenya, the largest port there in Africa. And they couldn't make their payments. And so the Chinese government came in and basically took it over and said, oh, well, we own it now. You didn't pay your payment. And so this is the kind of way, this is what the Mexican government ought to be concerned about with this. But obviously somebody's making money somewhere. So that's why that goes.
Silk Road.
Yeah.
Beware.
Act
for you, and then when you can't, you can't pay for it, they'll take over.
Yeah.
And by the way, and we'll build a missile site here and a couple of shipping docks. And by the way, you mentioned in your article that it was Mexico's President Obrador's one of his things that he promised to get elected. So.
Yeah, well, he's following through, I guess. Put a check mark next to that. The one last thing that I would like to I'd like to cover just the COVID, just real quick, because I'm doing some research on this. Real quick, I mean, COVID has been especially hard on the Hispanic, Latino, and Black community. And the reason for this, and I think they'll go in and decipher this when we get through the season, but you look at these different races, and obviously they are living in the lower spectrum of in the United States. They're not really necessarily middle class, but the reason for maybe the high numbers in the communities that have it, especially like in New York as well, is that when we have illegal immigration, these people are not checked for health reasons before they come into the country. If you're going through the process lawfully, you've got to have a TB test and you have to come in with a clean bill of health. And I think that right now, when this is over, they're going to go back and look to figure out why they had so many cases, especially in these communities, and that's exactly what they're going to find.
And I'm going to tell you, it'll be just like it has been before all of this happened. When the illegals come in and all of a sudden people say, oh, why are we getting scarlet fever and why are we getting mumps? It'll be after the fact. After the fact. They don't want to talk about it before. No,
they don't. And this cost is a huge cost to the taxpayers, of course, because they are all being taken care of in hospitals paid by the payers. So it's just something, it costs us a lot financially to take care of them. Obviously, we want people to be well in our country, but we need to actually learn from some of these mistakes. And this is one big reason why the blacks, Asians, and Latinos are suffering more cases of this COVID, because a lot of these people came into the country unlawfully and they bring diseases with them.
Yeah, and interesting
Sadly.
too, the Center for Disease Control readjusted their thing from 60,000 U.S. deaths to 37,000.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's
How
flu, pneumonia, COVID, all the same thing.
All righty. Hey,
All right.
Kimberly, enjoyed it very much. Don't forget, check it out. It'll be on YouTube a little bit later on, Facebook, Periscope.com. Kimberly Dvorak, Dvorak, and her website, thekdreport.com.